Have you ever noticed that the ringing in your ears gets worse exactly at the moments when you need mental clarity the most? That's not a coincidence. And what I'm about to explain may finally help you understand why this sound keeps interfering with your life, even after you've already tried so many things. For years, I followed hundreds of people who came into my office completely exhausted. Hollow eyes, a tired expression, and always the same sentence: "I can't take this ringing in my head anymore." And do you know what the worst part was? The feeling of being alone in this, because the people around you can't hear it. For them, everything is silent. But for those who suffer from it, it's like a permanent siren switched on inside the skull. And the more you try to ignore it, the louder it becomes. It damages relationships, because you become irritated by everything and everyone. It destroys productivity at work, because you can't focus on anything at all. And it steals your nights of rest, because when everything around you gets quiet, the ringing becomes overwhelming. But here's what most professionals never told you. This constant ringing is not an ear disease. It's a distress signal from your brain. Let me explain this very clearly. Your brain works like a power station. It needs a constant supply of energy, enough oxygen, and specific nutrients to process all the information coming from your senses, including hearing. When the blood flow that feeds this region becomes compromised, the nerve cells responsible for processing sound begin to suffer. They start sending incorrect, disorganized, desperate signals. And what do you hear? The ringing. But there's more. When your body is under chronic stress, whether from daily pressure, poor sleep, or constant worry, it rapidly depletes the neurotransmitters that keep the nervous system balanced. And when these chemical messengers run low, the brain loses its ability to filter out phantom sounds. That's why you notice the ringing getting worse when you're anxious, exhausted, or stressed. It's not psychological, it's biochemical. For years, people tried to solve this with medications that only mask the symptom, hearing aids that often amplify noise even more, or therapies that cost a fortune and deliver only temporary results. None of that addresses the root cause. That's when I began diving deep into research on a completely natural approach that works on the three fundamental pillars needed to quiet this ringing at its source. And I'll explain exactly how it works. The first element of this approach is an amino acid called L-arginine. It may sound complex, but it's simple. It's a natural substance your body uses to produce nitric oxide, a compound that dilates blood vessels. When this happens, more oxygen and nutrient-rich blood reaches the nerve cells of the ear and brain. As a result, these cells stop sending distress signals, and the ringing begins to fade. The second element is L-tyrosine, another amino acid that serves as raw material for the brain to produce essential neurotransmitters, especially those that regulate stress and anxiety. When these chemical messengers are balanced, the nervous system exits its state of hyperactivity, and the constant noise loses strength. The third element is an ancient substance known as mumio, also called shilajit. This natural compound, extracted from mountain rock formations, contains over 85 minerals and nutrients that help regenerate damaged nerve cells and strengthen neural communication. It's like giving high-quality fuel to an engine that has been malfunctioning for years. When these three elements work together, something happens that many people thought was impossible. Blood circulation is restored, bringing new life to auditory cells. Neural stress is reduced, calming chaotic signals. And brain connections are strengthened, reorganizing the auditory system from the inside out. And then the ringing simply fades away. Now, it's important to be realistic about expectations. This doesn't happen overnight. And that's a good thing, because solutions that act too fast rarely last. In the cases I've followed closely, the first improvements usually appeared between the second and fourth week. The volume of the ringing began to drop, the frequency of spikes decreased, and people noticed moments of real silence during the day. But it's between the second and third month that the real transformation happens. The ringing stops controlling your thoughts. Deep, restorative sleep returns. Focus comes back, and for the first time in a long while, you can sit in silence and simply enjoy the peace. That's why the guidance is always continuous use for 3 to 6 months, because the brain and auditory system need time to fully rebuild. And here's an important warning. There are many counterfeit and adulterated products being sold out there. The risk isn't just wasting money, it's putting your health at risk with substances of unknown origin. That's why, if you decide to explore this approach, it's essential to use only the official source linked below. That's the only way to ensure you're receiving the authentic product, manufactured in certified and regulated facilities in the United States, following strict safety and purity standards. There's also something that adds an extra layer of confidence. You're protected by a 90-day unconditional guarantee. If for any reason it doesn't work for you, or you don't adapt to it, you can request a full refund. No bureaucracy, no uncomfortable questions. But here's the truth. The return rate is almost zero. Because when you finally lie down at night and realize that the ringing is gone, when you wake up and experience true silence for the first time in years, when you regain the ability to focus, to talk, to live without that constant noise, you understand that you've recovered something priceless. My goal here is simply to clarify, to help you understand what is happening in your body and why this ringing is not random or all in your head. If you're exhausted from living with this daily torment, if you've tried everything and nothing has truly worked, if you want to regain silence, mental calm, and the quality of life this ringing has taken from you, you'll find more detailed information through the link below, including how each element works in the body, the research behind this approach, and real stories from people who finally experienced relief. Because living without that constant ringing, sleeping in absolute peace and regaining control over your mind, isn't luck. It's understanding your body while working with it.